प्रथमं सद्गुरुं वन्दे श्रीकृष्णं तदनन्तरं पापात्मनां त्रातां श्रीकृष्णस्त्वमलात्मना मन्नाथः श्रीजगन्नाथो मद्गुरु श्रीजगद्गुरु मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तद्ब्रह्म देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये. The divine souls. We'll have a few minutes of Nam Sankirtan, and after that, I'll speak on the topic of how to recognize a true guru. मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
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 गुरुवर प्यारे,
गिरिधर प्यारे,
गुरुवर प्यारे, गिरिधर प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे
गिरिधर प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे
मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे मेरे गिरिधर 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 प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे
गिरिधर प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे
गिरिधर प्यारे
गिरिधर प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे
गिरिधर प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे
मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे मेरे गिरिधर 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 प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे गिरिधर प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे गिरिधर प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे गिरिधर प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे गिरिधर प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे
गिरिधर प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे
गिरिधर प्यारे
गिरिधर प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे
गिरिधर प्यारे
गुरुवर प्यारे
मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे मेरे गिरिधर 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 प्यारे
बोलो श्रीमत सद्गुरु सरकार की
जय।
For the last 2 days during this intensive, I've been speaking to you on the topic of Guru. And so far, as it relates to recognizing a Guru, I have explained a couple of the important points. For instance, through one's own experience, it is possible to recognize whether you're following a true guru or not. For one, the guru gives not only the correct theoretical knowledge, but imparts that knowledge along with grace internally that removes long-standing confusions and doubts that a person may have had. So this is one way that we can recognize. When we see that transformation happening within ourselves, oh, I understand this now. It seems so easy. This is one hint we can get that, oh, this is a divine saint giving me this knowledge. This is why it's having a different impact than all the other times I've tried to learn this. Secondly, just like when one comes close to a fire, you feel warm and your coldness goes away. Similarly, the more we associate with a true saint, the more our attachment for Radha Krishna grows. In other words, we're getting warm. And the more our attachment in the world reduces. In other words, the coldness is going away. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana katha tajoshanadashvapavargavartmani shraddharatir bhaktiranukramishyati. Bhagavatam. Shushrusho shraddadhanasya vasudeva katharuchi syan mahatsevaya vipra punyatirtha nishevanat. Bhagavatam. These are a couple places in the Bhagavatam where it's explained what the effect of doing sang of a saint is. The saint, the true saint, is Sat. And when we associate mentally with that saint, we are doing sang. So we do satsang. And the effect of such satsang is to develop a desire for God and develop feelings of attachment and love for God, and start developing detachment from worldly pleasures. All of this just happens from doing satsang of a saint. So if you're doing the sang of a true saint, these internal transformations must start to take place. And this is how we judge. If we are truly doing sang, if we are truly, sincerely associating with this saint and following their instructions for how to do devotion, then we're bound to see this progress. This progress is the result of the purification of our heart, which is the result of receiving the grace of the saint. There's no other way to effect such powerful purification of the heart that you would actually see, what? My worldly attachments reduced? I didn't do anything. All I did was satsang of this saint. Now my attachments are reducing? It's unmistakable. What? I did so much bhakti in my life, but I never developed these feelings of love for God. How's it happening? Well, it's through the grace of the saint. So on one hand, recognizing a saint is very straightforward. Finding the true saint, well, that's another matter. It's best if we leave that up to Shri Krishna. We just keep praying to Shri Krishna, sincerely requesting him to send a saint into our life, and leave that part up to him. Keep praying sincerely until he does it. But once he arranges that meeting, then it's very straightforward to recognize that you've received the sang of a true saint. because you'll see these inner transformations take place. You yourself will experience it. So who are you going to doubt at that point? It's your own experience. But if somebody doesn't have the correct knowledge, then they may miss these signs. If they're going to a saint for the wrong reason, if they think the reason to go to a saint is to get worldly blessings, then they'll miss the benefit of the true saint and they'll get taken advantage of very easily by someone who's posing as a saint. See, recognizing the true saint is part of the knowledge, which I already explained. It's very simple. But avoiding that type of thinking that could allow us to get taken advantage of by someone who's posing as a saint, but who isn't actually God realized, that's also important. Now, you can't recognize who is God realized and who isn't through any type of visual inspection or by observing their behavior. It's not possible, although this is the main prerequisite for who's a true guru. Brahmanishtam, Ved says, the true saint, the true guru is God realized. But God doesn't put a certificate of completion in the mail to you once you become God realized, with a special stamp that only God has. So anyone who has that certificate, that diploma on their wall, they're a true saint. There is no such system in place. But if you don't find the true saint, the God-realized saint, then it means you're following someone who is just posing as a saint. So we have to have enough knowledge to be able to avoid such a situation until that time when Shri Krishna arranges for us to meet a true saint. So let's understand a few things that, we can't use these things to judge who a saint is, or we can say a true saint won't do this or won't do that. So one of these things is we can't judge by someone's dress or age or gender who is a saint. See, there's a very playful, mischievous leela one time that Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Maharaj did when he was much younger, before he was even Jagadguru. When he was just in his 20s, he had been giving satsang, meaning leading kirtan, teaching people about devotion for quite a few years. So he had many followers, and he used to travel all around India, doing kirtan, giving private talks in people's homes, answering their questions, revealing the bliss of Radha Krishna name. So back in those days, Maharaj, he was so young, he never wore orange clothes like this, and he had what he referred to as an English haircut, short hair, and he just wore normal clothing, just like a regular person. So imagine a young man in his early 20s with short hair, wearing ordinary clothes, and he's traveling on the train to go somewhere. So Maharaj, back in those days, actually, a couple of his satsangis, those who followed him, were very high in the administration of the railroad. So anytime he would travel, if he was going to Mathura or Prayag, then these important people with important posts would come and meet him, and they'd arrange for his ticket and everything. But Maharaj said he never traveled without a ticket. He always got the actual ticket. But this time he decided to play a little trick on the conductor who has to come and check the tickets. So Maharaj had a first-class ticket, so he was sitting there up in first class, and the conductor came and said, "Ticket?" Maharaj said, "Oh, I don't have a ticket." So, of course, this aroused the suspicion of the conductor, And Maharaji said, I don't need a ticket. My son is the supervisor of railroads in Prayag, where Maharaji was heading to. In other words, the topmost in the whole district. Back in those days, it was a very important and impressive post. So Maharaji is in his early 20s, and he's telling this conductor that this person is my son, so I don't need a ticket. So now the conductor decided to have a little bit of fun with Maharaji as well. So he said, oh, your son. Okay, he's thinking this young man has lost his marbles. So he calls the other ticket checking conductor from one of the other cars, and he starts mocking Maharaji. Oh, did you know? So he's the father of so and so, the big director in Prayag. And like this, they were making fun of Maharaji the whole way there. So when the station was coming up, then, the conductor started asking him, so I guess if he's your son, he'll be meeting you at the railway station? Maharaji said, yeah, he better be. So when they got there, he wasn't there because Maharaji hadn't even told him he was coming. That's how Maharaji used to travel back in those days. Just decide, I'm going over there, and he'd go. So when he got there to the station, they said, he's not here. Maharaji said, get him on the phone right away. They said, wow, this should be interesting. So he calls him up. He had the number because it's his boss's boss's boss. And Maharaji takes the phone from him and he says, where are you? I'm here waiting for you. And the conductors who are all gathered around to make fun of Maharaji are thinking, he can talk to him like that? So he, of course, said, yes, Maharaji, I'm coming right away. So he got there in a few minutes, and all the conductors are gathered up, and when this big, important person in the railroad walks in, he walks over to Shri Maharaji and touches his feet. And now everybody, why are they so confused? They couldn't figure, they're still thinking, okay, he must be his father because he touched his feet. How could such an important individual touch the feet of someone, he wouldn't be so humble to just anyone. It never dawned on them. They never considered the possibility that Maharaji is his guru. Why? Because he's not dressed like a spiritual man. He's too young. He's not wearing the right clothes. He doesn't have the right haircut. So Maharaji says that, oh, I just wanted to let you know that these folks all took great care of me on the train. They were all shaking in their boots. Maharaji's going to get them fired. And then Maharaji started to walk away and he said, oh, one more thing. And he thinks, this is it. Now he's going to tell him how I was really talking to him, and this is it. I'm done. I'm fired. My livelihood is finished. He walks over. Maharaji hands him his ticket and walks away. So this is a very amusing story for us, and I'm sure that conductor remembered Maharaji for the rest of his life. But the point of the story in this context is that look at how easily we're fooled. Oh no, a divine God-realized saint can't be in his 20s. Oh no, he can't wear ordinary clothes. No, he can't have an ordinary haircut. And then we're fooled. So if we have that wrong understanding, we'll eliminate the true saint from consideration because we'll think, oh no, he's just not dressed properly. He can't be a true saint. And knowing that we have this stereotype in our mind, others who are posing as saints will try to fit the part. So, I want people to follow me, so I'm going to grow my hair long because that's what people expect. I'm going to grow my beard long because that's what people expect. I'm going to wear orange clothes because that is what people expect. So now that pakhandi, that fake saint, has gotten you to check one of the boxes. When you're going looking for who is a true saint, if that's one of your boxes that, okay, has to wear orange clothes, check. Has to have long hair and a beard, check. Because you didn't have the correct knowledge, that pakhandi has already got you. He's got you part way reeled in. Now, there's a couple of other ways that we get fooled. We allow ourselves to be fooled. As I mentioned, a true saint is God realized and wants to give us God realization, wants to increase our attachment to God and decrease our attachment in the world. And yet, what's another checkbox we've got? Saints will bless me with material prosperity. That's our hope and that's our belief. And most of the time, that's why people go to saints. Please bless me. Please bless my daughter, bless my son. With what? Love for God? Detachment from the world? Oh, no. No, bless me with wealth, bless me with a green card, bless me with a promotion. So, if we've got this wrong understanding, then of course the pakhandi is going to know that and he's going to play the part. Oh yes, my child, I bless you with that. You will have it. He gives us a fake ashirvad. He's not even God realized. What possible power could he have to give us ashirvad or to bless us with any material boon? And yet he's playing the part because this is what we want. So he got us to check another box. Whereas the actual philosophy, according to Shri Krishna himself in the Bhagavatam, is Tam Bhranshayami sampadbhyo yasya chechamyanugraham. If I want to grace somebody, I'll start taking away their material things. I'll cause them to lose their status in the world. Why? Isn't this the exact opposite of what we believe? If God graces me, if a saint graces me, I'll rise up in the world. Shri Krishna says, my grace causes you to lose material status. Why? Because nahi ko as jag ma jag mahi, nahi ko as janma jag mahi, prabhuta pai jahi madanahi. Never has there been someone born in this world who, once they achieve power and status and wealth, they don't become intoxicated with pride and arrogance. And it's so insidious that their own mind cannot recognize that they are prideful and arrogant. And it's that pride and arrogance which is the very opposite of devotion. Because devotion is, the very foundation of devotion is humbleness and surrender. But when we are intoxicated with the pride of our own status and power and wealth, then humbleness and surrender are far. Then why would God give us the very thing that is going to increase that pride and take us farther and farther away from Him? Why would a saint give us that thing? So it's the opposite. Shri Krishna says, I start taking away the things that give you that pride if I want to grace you. So you see, with this knowledge, we can start correcting our understanding. Okay, a saint is going to give me correct knowledge of how to attain God and is going to grace me with feelings of love for God, which will also reduce my attachment in the world. The saint is not going to grace me with material things, either for real or just putting on an act. Either way, the saint is not going to do that. The fake saint doesn't have the power to give material boons, but puts on the act of giving the boon. And the true saint has the power to give the material boon, but never would. Avashyameva bhoktavyam kritang karma shubha shubham. Mahabharata. One must undergo the consequences of the good and bad karma they did in their past life. Neither God nor the saint is going to intercede in that. So what you get is actually determined by what you did in your past life. Is it so easy to rearrange and adjust that just by going to a saint and saying, I don't like this bad thing that's happening to me. Make this good thing happen instead. It's not that easy. You did something bad, so now receive the outcome. Or you did something good, so receive the outcome. So a true saint doesn't give material boons, nor does a true saint threaten to give curses. It's a similar situation. The one who is a true saint, do they have the power to give a curse? I suppose so. But they never would. They're not trying to harm people or cause people to follow them out of fear. But the one who is not God-realized may rely on the fear of getting cursed to keep people following him. Well, if you leave me, this bad thing is going to happen to you. If you disrespect me, I'll curse you. I know several people, I've met such people who have told me, my Guruji has threatened me in that way, and they keep following them out of fear. So a true saint doesn't give curses or threaten to give curses. And whatever shrap we hear about from our scriptures, these are special circumstances. Every time you hear about a saint giving shrap, giving a curse, it's part of a divine leela to make something happen down the line. It's part of the plan. In fact, the word shrap comes from the root Shreya Prad. Shreya means something good, the best. And Prad means dene wala, that causes that to happen. So a shrap is actually a good thing, but it only happens in the divine realm of God's leelas, where sometimes saints curse God and sometimes saints curse each other, but it's all to make something happen in order to benefit the souls. Like Naraji cursed Shri Krishna that you gave me a monkey face. It's a long story for another day. Krishna gave him a monkey face and he got embarrassed by that. So Naraji said, I curse you to be born on earth and you'll have monkeys as your servant. So wasn't that a great thing for us? We got the whole Ramayana out of that. So a curse, every single curse you hear, even Parikshit getting cursed by that Brahman's son to have a snake bite him in the next 7 days and he's going to die. Because of that, we got to hear the first public recitation of the Bhagavatam from the Shri Mukh of Shukadev ji. So every curse has a divine reason behind it. But saints are not walking around willy-nilly cursing anybody who comes across their path who looks at them sideways. They don't curse ordinary people. It's only a divine happening when there's some shrap that happens. So saints don't have to dress in any way. Just remove that checkbox from your list. Saints could be any gender, young or old. So remove those 2 checkboxes. Saints don't have to wear any particular kind of clothing. Saints don't have to be sannyasis. Saints, in fact, historically speaking, the overwhelming majority of saints described in our scriptures were married with kids. They were grihasthis. Arjun, Gopis, Ambarish, Dhruv, Prahlad. Almost every saint you can think of was a grihasthi. There are very few who were sannyasis, like Sanakadik Paramahans and Shukadev ji. Even those who lived in the jungle, like Vashisht. He wasn't a sannyasi, he was God-realized, and yet he was married with kids. So we have to readjust our perspective on who is a saint and who isn't. Don't look at gender. Don't look at whether they're a sannyasi or a family person. Don't look at age. Don't look at how they're dressed. You can't even look at, we think, Oh, a saint will be nice all the time. What about Durvasa? Durvasa Muni was Shri Krishna's guru. Telling me he's not a saint? Of course he's a saint. And yet, he's so quick to anger. That's his divine personality. And we can't judge based on, oh, he got angry, he can't be a saint. Again, we would have crossed Durvasa Muni off the list, one of the great gurus of our history. So we can't judge by observing with these eyes. But we can judge by our experience. Again, go back to my original point. You have to accept that guru in your heart, follow their teachings, do the devotion according to how they explain to do it, and then you'll receive their grace. That grace will purify your heart, which will cause you to develop more love for God than you ever thought possible, and will reduce your attachments in the world, which nobody believes is possible. And there's something else a true saint doesn't do. Make a public display of powers. Chamatkar. There are some in the world who have thousands and hundreds of thousands of followers who make it like a public exhibition, a pre-planned public exhibition. Guruji is going to show this power or that power. Saints don't do such things. They have whatever power God has, the saint has. So what couldn't a saint do? And yet, other than a few incidental occurrences that may happen in a saint's life where they end up using one of their powers for one reason or another, other than these incidentals that happen, a saint never makes a public display of their powers. A saint doesn't use an exhibition of their powers to try to attract followers. One time, Shri Maharaj was leading a kirtan on the bank of Narmada River, and there was an ashram up on the hill, and the Babaji in that ashram kept asking him, please come and visit, but Maharaj was leading the kirtan program for a couple weeks, Akhanda Nam Sankirtan. And there were 30 or 40 dedicated devotees who were there taking the benefit of that Nam Sankirtan for the whole time, drinking that bhakti ras. Now, during this time, it started raining really hard, and Narmada River started to overflow her banks. Narmada ji is a divine goddess who has her adhibhautik roop, her material form here on earth, but she's like Ganga ji. She has a divine personal form. So Narmada ji was rising over her banks, and the water was starting to approach the area where they were doing kirtan. But Shri Maharaj ji just went and took a stick and drew a line around the area where they were doing kirtan. They kept doing kirtan with no worries, and the water never came and touched them. Once the kirtan session was over, then they went up to visit that Babaji in his ashram, and immediately, as soon as they vacated the grounds, the water came and flooded that area and kept rising higher and higher and higher and higher. Just like when Vasudev ji was crossing Yamuna and the water was getting higher and higher and higher, he was almost covering his face. So then what did Shri Krishna do? He just dipped his little foot down and touched into the water, and then Yamuna ji receded because all she wanted was to touch his lotus feet. So up there on the hill, Yamuna ji is rising so high, it's now threatening the ashram. So Maharaj ji just quietly, without telling anyone, went and sat down on the bank and dipped his charan in the water, and Narmada ji went back down. Now all of a sudden, news started to spread like wildfire. There's some Chamatkari Baba there at this ashram, and people started to flock over there in the hundreds. Now mind you, for a couple of weeks, Maharaji was pouring the ras of Nam Sankirtan, and there were only a few dozen people there taking advantage of it. And once they heard of some chamatkar that happened, now they're coming in hundreds and thousands to have a darshan of that great saint. Why? They got the wrong checkbox. A saint shows powers. So a saint may or may not, that's neither here nor there. The saint isn't trying to attract people who are interested in powers. Maharaj ji bhag gaye wahan se. Before anyone reached there, Maharaj ji left and went somewhere else. He wasn't interested in people. You could have been sitting there doing sadhana for the last 2 weeks. Now you just hear of one little miracle and you come running. No, I'm out of here. So a saint doesn't use powers to develop a following. If you are supposed to look for that characteristic in order to determine who's a true saint, then how easy it would be for someone to fool you. I could go to Las Vegas, find one of those great illusionists who does those performances that's just mind-blowing, and I'll tell him, just let your hair and your beard grow for a year, and I'm going to put these orange robes on you, okay? And now come over here in this hut in the jungle and do the same tricks that you did there on the stage in Las Vegas. You'll have hundreds of thousands of followers. It's just tricks, optical illusions, but looks like real powers to us. We can't figure it out. So if some saint, just like some people put some paste on their hands, because everybody wants vibhuti, blessed ashes. So people put a clear paste on their hand that dries clear. So if I show you my hand, you can't see it. But once it's dry and I do this, see, I'm conjuring up something here. But really what I'm doing is I'm just rubbing off that dry paste, and now I produced some ash. Oh, this Babaji produces vibhuti out of his hands. Thousands of people are flocking. So these types of tricks are obviously deluding people into following the wrong person. And even if that person did have that power, so what? What does that do for you? You still have to do sadhana. Whether Guruji can do some miracles or not, you still have to do sadhana. So is Guruji explaining to you how to do sadhana? What you have to do every day? See, so true saints don't give material boons, they don't give shrap, and they don't use an exhibition of some kind of power, real or fake, to attract a following. A true guru also doesn't give shortcuts. The true guru says, look, you have to purify your heart. This is what you have to do it. Now do the work. The true guru doesn't say, oh, let me just whisper this mantra in your ear. Now you're my disciple, so you're good to go. Yeah, I'll meet you at the gates of Golok and guarantee your entrance. Yeah, lots of people would want to follow that guru. Why not? No work to do. Just get the mantra, and like signing the contract, okay, you're my guru, bas ho gaya. Or some gurus say just do Path of Ramayan this many times, or of Sundarkand this many times, or do Gita ka Path, or Bhagavad ka Path, certain number of times, and there you go, guaranteed entrance to the divine abode. Another shortcut. You're still 100% attached in the world. You haven't done any work to purify your heart. Your anger and jealousy and everything is still just as high as before. But oh, I did Path of this many akshar in this religious text. So now I'm guaranteed God realization. Another dhokha. Or here's another shortcut. Just wear this kanthi I'm giving you and put this tilak on your head, and Yamaraj is going to be afraid of that at the time of death, so he's not going to bother you. You'll come to the divine abode. Whereas Shri Krishna says in Gita, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tantamevaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavita. Arjun, where is your mind attached? That's what you're going to attain after death. So it doesn't matter if you visited all 4 main holy places, Charon Dham. If your mind is still attached in the world, what are you going to attain after death? The world. You'll be reborn here. So all these shortcuts of visiting holy places or doing a certain number of pat or getting a mantra, there are many, many more shortcuts. These are not wrong practices in and of themselves. Visiting a holy place, if it's done with the right outlook, can help you. Oh, Krishna did this Leela here? That's so exciting. He walked here. So you're visiting a holy place and you're getting the benefit. But if you're just thinking that by physically going and checking that box, oh, I physically went here, but the whole time you were just thinking about worldly desires, then there's no benefit to having gone. So all these practices, whether it be repetition of a mantra or listening to the leelas of any scripture recited or visiting holy places, all of these are practices of their devotional practices that have benefit, but they shouldn't be approached as shortcuts. That I don't have to do any work to purify my heart and reduce my worldly attachments and become more attached to God. I don't have to do any of that because I've done this shortcut. I did this many part of this scripture. I've gone to Charon Dham 5 times in my life, so I'm guaranteed Vaikuntha 5 times over. This type of thing is a way that unqualified people who are posing as gurus try to gain a following by saying, hey, just follow me, look how easy I've made it. Don't do anything, just do this one shortcut. So if we don't have this understanding, we have all the wrong check boxes on our list of, okay, does this guru check this box, this box, this box? Oh, he checks all those boxes, good, I'm going to follow this guy. And we get fooled, we follow the wrong guru for our whole life, and afterwards when we're leaving our body and we see where we're going to be born, we say, what? I'm not going to Vaikuntha? I'm not going to Golok? No, according to your karma, according to the attachments of your mind, this is where you're going to be reborn. Nothing to do with the divine abode because you haven't purified your mind and you haven't surrendered your mind to God. So we have to remove those erroneous check boxes and only focus on the simple thing which I described in the beginning. What is our own proof that we get of our own internal transformation? Is our love for God growing? Is our attachment in the world reducing? Have our spiritual confusions been removed due to the teachings of this guru? That is all the proof one needs, and this is incontrovertible proof. You can't be fooled. With the other erroneous checklist, anybody can fool you because you have a wrong stereotype of what a guru is. But when you have the correct understanding, who's going to fool you? It's impossible because your whole decision process is based on your own experience. So you wait and see, what experience do I get? If it's according to the correct direction, then I know I'm following a true saint. And if I'm not getting those results, then I have to keep looking. So in this way, when we have the correct knowledge, we can streamline our search for the correct guru. We can completely avoid, I'm not saying maybe, I'm saying you can completely avoid the danger of getting fooled by someone who's posing as a saint, if you have this knowledge. And then it's just a matter of waiting. Oh Krishna, please grace me with the sang of a true sadhu, of a true divine, God-realized saint. Keep praying to Shri Krishna, and when he sees that you're ready to benefit, he's going to send such a saint into your life. And then you follow their teachings, you accept them in your heart, That's how you do Sangh. You accept them in your heart, follow their teachings, do the sadhana, how they explained it, and then you'll see the results. You'll check the correct boxes. Oh, worldly attachment reducing, check. Attachment to Radha Krishna increasing, check. Desire to meet Radha and Krishna increasing, check. Anger reducing, check, at least a little bit. We start seeing these signs of internal transformation, then we know we've found the true Guru, and now it's just a matter of us buckling down, becoming more focused, and following however much effort we put in, that much benefit we'll receive. If we want more results, put in more effort. And with the grace of such a true saint, it's possible to become God-realized. It's possible for us to become God-realized in this very life. So with this knowledge that I've shared with you very briefly, we can both avoid following someone who isn't a saint, and we can recognize that we're receiving the grace of a true saint. Boliye Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki. So we'll finish with a few minutes of Nam Sankirtan. Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Pyare. Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Pyare. Jayati Guruvar, Pyare.
Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Pyare. Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Pyare. Jayati Guruvar, Pyare.
Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Pyare. Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Pyare. Jayati Guruvar, Pyare.
Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Pyare. Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Jayati Guruvar, Pyare. Jayati Guruvar, Pyare.
Tu hi Brahma, tu hi Vishnu, tu hi Shankar, Pyare. Tu hi Brahma, tu hi Vishnu, tu hi Shankar, Pyare. Tu hi Shankar, Pyare.
Tu hi Brahma, tu hi Vishnu, tu hi Shankar, Pyare. Tu hi Brahma, tu hi Vishnu, tu hi Shankar, Pyare. Tu hi Shankar, Pyare.
Tu hi Brahma, tu hi Vishnu, tu hi शंकर प्यारे, तू ही ब्रह्मा तू ही विष्णु, तू ही शंकर प्यारे, तू ही शंकर प्यारे,
तू ही ब्रह्मा तू ही विष्णु, तू ही शंकर प्यारे, तू ही ब्रह्मा तू ही विष्णु, तू ही शंकर प्यारे, तू ही शंकर प्यारे।
जयति गुरुवर जयति गुरुवर, जयति गुरुवर प्यारे, जयति गुरुवर जयति गुरुवर, जयति गुरुवर प्यारे, जयति गुरुवर प्यारे,
जयति गुरुवर जयति गुरुवर, जयति गुरुवर प्यारे, जयति गुरुवर जयति गुरुवर, जयति गुरुवर प्यारे, जयति गुरुवर प्यारे।
बोलो श्री राधा कृष्ण भगवान की। Want to invite everybody to a couple programs that are happening this week. Actually, today I have another talk. I'll be at the Austin Hindu Temple at 5 p.m. from 5 till 6:30. So if anyone wants to come and join us over there for lecture and kirtan, you're welcome to join. And then starting tomorrow, we have a 4-day Gita class here. This whole week is a vacation week for the kids from school. So from Monday to Thursday in the evenings, 7 p.m. to 8:30, we'll be having a family Gita class. So it's an interactive class with discussions and question and answer and games and quizzes, not just for kids, but for the adults as well. So everybody gets to understand the most important points of in this class, it'll be the 7th and 8th chapters of the Gita, in a way that allows you to understand it and then apply it in your life. So this class is not about memorizing shlokas, and in fact, we don't even cover every single shlok of each chapter. We just focus on 3 or 4 most important points. What's the message of this chapter, and how can I bring that into my life and benefit from it? This is what we'll be doing this week. So again, it's Monday to Thursday, 7 p.m. till 8:30, and it's here at Radha Madhav Dham in the Lotus Hall. And we'll be having dinner prasad served daily as well. Jai Shri Radhe.